Hello and welcome to the Malika Writes channel. My name is Malika Writes, and today I'm going to be talking about friendship in Middle-earth. So, as everyone sort of knows, there are quite a few main friendships in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. For example, we have Boromir and Aragorn, we have Gimli and Legolas, we have Frodo and Sam, but we have a lot in the Silmarillion as well. We have Fingon and Maedhros, we have Glorfindel and Ecthelion, we also have Turin and Beleg. So, throughout the Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, friendships are responsible for some of the greatest acts of valor that we have seen in the Middle-earth world. For example, Fingon saves Maedhros from the captivity of Melkor, and not only does this bring back a much beloved character, but it also ensures that there's peace between the Noldor and that they can focus on a single enemy. It results in Maedhros wavering his claim to the throne, and so it actually results in a lot of major things. That way we have the throne line of the Noldor passing back to Fingolfin and going down to Fingon and then to Turgon, his brother, which causes a lot of major events to happen. So we have this character, Turin, who I've spoken about before on the channel, and his own sort of reckless behavior and decision making, and we've done a whole video where we talked about whether his decisions were sort of fated for him or whether he really had any choice. But the biggest thing about his friendship to Beleg is the fact that not only does he kill Beleg in the end accidentally, but we see how much Beleg's death affects him, and it's one of the saddest things in the Silmarillion, and that's saying something because the Silmarillion is full of sad events, but their friendship is really one to be remembered. And the biggest thing that sort of links all these friendships together is that when it comes for the time for their friendship to be tested, they all stand not just the test of time, but they all stand in that moment. They do not abandon their friends. Sam and Frodo also have that close relationship, and one of the things that's really special about the friendships in Middle-earth is their affection for each other. We see Beleg say to Thingol and Melian that he loves Turin. We see the act of bravery that Fingon endures. He cries for Maedhros when he thinks he can't save him. You know, we see a lot of the manifestations of affection even in the movie, for example, with Aragorn and Boromir, where we see Aragorn kiss Boromir on the forehead and swear to him, and they have that little moment where where Boromir is talking to Aragorn and calls him his brother, his king, and accepting that Aragorn is the rightful king of Gondor, which is a big step from the council meeting, where Boromir was sort of adamant that Gondor didn't need a king. So it's a really big shift that we see with this character, and it's all through what they've endured together. And one of the biggest things with friendships is that it doesn't just come out of, oh, we like similar things. There is a common quest that we follow for all of the friendships that we have access to. I know that The Lord of the Rings is a quest story, but all of the friendships that we have access to come out of having a common duty, out of having a common quest, which is something that aligns everyone together. And we even see that with relationships. It's the common purpose underneath that forms almost the basis of that relationship. So it's almost like you're not going to go for the long haul with someone if you don't have a quest in common with that person. And that quest could simply be life, as it was with Beren and Luthien, the desire to live together. Or that quest could be, fighting an enemy, like it was for Fingon and Maedhros. It could be destroying a ring, which is fighting the lieutenant of that enemy, which it was for Frodo and Sam. all these relationships can actually be a lot more playful. Like if we look at the friendship that Gandalf has with the hobbits and that he has with the dwarves, it's a lot more playful, even though we do see these two relationships form in the context of helping people and helping prevent evil coming to fruition, which is what Gandalf was even sent to Middle-earth in the first place to do. But one of the things I really love about Tolkien's friendships is that the survival of these friendships in hard times is what carries the story forward. As we watch these characters, it's their relationships that really stick with us. I remember watching the film and seeing the friendship between Pippin and Merry and Boromir, and really loving that dynamic, and it actually made Boromir more endearing to me, and it made his loss even more painful. And so it made sense that he would redeem himself by trying to save Merry and Pippin, which is what he did in the movie and even in the book. So it was really emotional watching that and seeing his concern, where he tells Aragorn they've taken the halflings, and that's kind of the main message he sort of wants to get across, and you can see how feverish he is. It's really great stuff, but it's those relationships that carry the movie. And in recent times, I don't know whether it's just because of the Amazon series that's coming out, or whether it's because of just in general the direction that our society is taking, but these relationships have been taken out of context and sexualized, and it really does take away from the beauty of having that affection. We always complain that men are not able to show affection for one another, but then the moment they do, it's taken out of context and it's sexualized, and the purity of that relationship, of that expression of love, is turned into something sexual. In terms of that relationship, it just ruins what that relationship has. I know that people are perfectly entitled to ship whoever they want to ship. I know that people ship Sam and Frodo, but when it really does take away from the relationship, from the purity of that relationship and how it was presented to us. We fell in love with these characters as they were portrayed. I've seen people do this a lot with Fingon and Maedhros, where the portrayal of the characters was one way, and you fell in love with the characters because they were written that way. So to turn them into something else and almost ruin the dynamic of their relationship for, I don't know why people do that, but for whatever reason you're doing it, it seems disingenuous, and it begins to take away from the writing and the character. And it's not about gatekeeping, because people are perfectly entitled to do whatever they want to do, but it does bring into question how much you actually love these characters and how much you actually appreciate the writing if what you're doing is basically just taking the relationships they have formed out of context and turning them into something that they're not. So that's kind of what I just wanted to say on friendships. This was a lot more like of a ramble sort of video, but I do think it's important to talk about topics like this, and also to just celebrate the friendships that we have in Middle-earth. They are what make the stories what they are, because without them we wouldn't have as much of an emotional connection to these characters. It's seeing that comrade-like relationship that really appeals to the audience and makes us root for the characters even more. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for paying attention and taking the time in your day to listen to me. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. And this has been the Malika Writes channel.